Greetings and welcome. I am Fisher Moore, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the concept of a text, how every action a person does is itself a text, and why this matters, how it's relevant or significant in our day-to-day lives. So let me start by defining text itself. A text is any unit of meaning. It is any unit of information that contains meaning. I'll come back to that. This insight, I call it an insight maybe, or point of clarity, came to me through many years of teaching, specifically teaching language and literature. And so I'll just tell you a little bit of a story about how I came about, having this point of clarity, or how this insight came to me. I was teaching language and literature, meaning a lot of times we're dealing with exactly that, literature, poetry, novels, short stories, and the like. And a lot of times I'm teaching essay writing, and an essay is where a student is trying to articulate a viewpoint, an opinion about the work. They state that opinion in a statement that we call a thesis. They then go forth and try to find evidence to support the validity of that thesis, and that really is an interpretation of an element of meaning, an aspect of meaning that they found in that work. And all texts are interpretable in multiple different ways. There is no single interpretation that is the right and true one. This is why language and literature can be nebulous and tricky to navigate. It's not like mathematics where there are definitive correct answers, or other physics, biology, harder, say, sciences. But this is how I came about understanding this. And so back to a text, part of that journey was understanding that a creator, an author, a sculptor, a painter, a composer, what have you, intends to put certain things into their work. There is intention. They have some ideas that they're trying to capture and convey, and that is certainly one dimension of text. But then there's the subtext dimension, everything that exists below that dimension, that comes from the author, the creator as well, right? The unintended stuff finds its way into the creation, even when the creator doesn't know that it's in him or her, and then therefore doesn't know that it's coming through him or her and finding its way into the text itself. But it's in there. And the receiver, the reader, the listener, anyone who is on the receiving end of that text can have access to that stuff because it's in there. And so, more to this point, every text is an act of translation. Really, it's an act of expression. And I'll break that down just a little bit further. Express, to push out. So every text is a translation of stuff that you have inside you, in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, that you want to configure in a certain way with words or materials, and then give out to the world so that others can benefit from that understanding or that insight or that meaning. And so, some examples. I've listed some already. A song is a text, an album can be a text, a book is a text, a novel, a movie is a text. A sunset can be considered a text. Any unit of information or meaning is a text. This video right here counts as a text. I have some stuff inside me that right now I'm trying to just configure in a certain way to give out, express, give to you, to the world, so that you can share in this same meaning. And so I don't know what unintended stuff I might be putting in here that you might pick up on. Feel free to take note and make comments of that in the section below. But every text is actually an act of translation from inside to outside. And a person's actions fit into this category. Every time you do something, every time I do something, again, I'm taking what I have inside me and I'm doing something with it. I'm then making the inside outside. I'm taking internal stuff and making it external. and it's then in the world. And then once it's in the world, once the author has written the book and published it, once the painter has completed the painting and put it out there, it kind of doesn't just belong to the creator anymore, right? It still does. The creator still made it. It still contains all the intended and unintended meaning that the creator put in it, but it also partly belongs to the world. Anyone who receives that text and engages with it and interprets it then can also co-define the meaning that that text contains and conveys. And so every text is interpretable in multiple different ways. And actions are no different. Every action that a person takes fits into the same category, right? It is an expression. It is a translation of something they have inside to the external world. And then it thereby does not just simply belong to that person anymore. It also belongs to those in the world who have access to it, who came into contact with it and may engage with it or seek to understand it through interpretation. And that means that every action, just like every other text that I've been trying to describe here, does not contain one and only one meaning. It cannot, because of its nature. A text is interpretable in multiple different ways because once it is expressed, it is out there, and a receiver's reception of it is part of the potential meaning of that text. And so why is this relevant? What am I talking about all of this for? Well, think of your social life. I mean, this is where I made this connection partly because I continued to run into people, not rampantly, but enough over time, it became a pattern that I saw a problem. And the problem is people being insistent that their action means one and only one thing. Be mindful, right? There are any number of potential reasons why an individual would become so insistent that their one action means one and only one thing. And the one thing that they try to often insist that it means is what they intend, what their intentions were. Meaning they're not willing to include the consideration that the unintended stuff is part of the action and is part of what the receiver experiences when they receive the meaning in the action, whether the thing is done to them or with them or not. And so that's where it becomes relevant and significant to us. I'm not saying that all people do that with their actions in all times, by no means, but there's enough of it in the world. It seems to be growing. I could be wrong about that. I'm just one person. If you disagree about that, let me know. But I just wanted to share this. This is a significant thing. It's helped me a great deal in my life. And with that, I thank you for your time and attention. Be seeing you.